Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I woke up this morning and I heard something that made me think I still should be asleep. The Chicago White Sox were going to be announcing that Tony La Russa would be their new manager. Apparently, Casey Stengel wasn't available. 76-year-old La Russa now will lead the favored team to the Central Division crown. Only that move may be in danger for maybe some other team, possibly the Minnesota Twins, could move in, although probably not the Cleveland Indians. We've got Daryl Ruiter with us. We'll talk Browns and Indians. More sports, and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into its 25th year and powered by cleveland.com. We are powered tonight by dangerous Daryl Ruiter of 92.3 The Fan, covers the Indians and the Cleveland Browns, doing a great job with the Browns this year. He's done a great job with 5 of the games, not so good with 2. Daryl, how are you tonight?
That's exactly what my prediction record is, Les. I'm 5-2.
Well, you had 2 bad weeks.
I did. I had them beating the Steelers.
Yeah. And
I thought that they were going to lose at Dallas.
Well, who didn't? When you think about it, you make a choice, and I made the same choice. I thought the Browns were going to somehow win that Pittsburgh game. And when they don't, and when it's so bad and they look terrible and Pittsburgh looks so good, don't you feel stupid?
Yes. Yes. When it's I would say anything above a 3-possession differential, yeah, you look pretty silly.
Yeah. It didn't seem bad on Friday. It just seemed bad on Sunday at about 5. 2-1-6.
Oh, yeah.
2-1-6. What's that?
Things were great. Monday through Friday, it was fantastic. Then we got to Sunday, and all bets were off.
You were just kidding. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. First of all, let's just chat a little bit about the Indians and what's going on in the Central Division. Tony La Russa? I would have never, in the Rumpelstiltskin game, I would have never come up with that name.
I don't know what they're thinking. No disrespect to the ageless wonder that is Tony La Russa, but my goodness, the game of baseball's changed in the last 30 years since he's been a manager.
He hasn't been a manager since 2011.
Yeah, and Jeff Passan just absolutely nuked him in a column after the announcement was made, and talking about how he presided over one of the most steroid-ridden clubhouses in Major League Baseball, and how out of touch not only with society, but with the game that he is today. And just looking at some of the stuff coming out of Chicago, this was a Jerry Reinsdorf move.
Well, everything's a Jerry Reinsdorf move in Chicago.
Yeah, and this is, I think, going to go as well as the John Beeline Cleveland Cavaliers hire did as well. Which is to say, it will not last long.
I was just thinking, John Beeline, didn't he coach the Cavs for a week or 2?
He did.
And he made a beeline out.
Yeah, I'm guessing I'll be impressed if La Russa makes it to the All-Star break. I don't know how he's going to really be able to work less with, the players have changed today as well. The personalities have changed in that. I don't know that that's going to be a marriage that's going to work.
I'm not trying to make a joke of this. Doesn't he speak, is the family Spanish?
I don't know, but I don't even think he is going to fit well. I really don't. I think he's going to be a detriment to them trying to win the division. I really do.
Well, it's going to be an easy division, though, for them. They should be the favorite no matter if he's there or not, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, the Indians aren't going to win it next year. Minnesota, I think, is the biggest challenge. It'd be interesting to see how deep or extensive Kansas City can get into their rebuild. out there in the Midwest. But yeah, I think it'll be a two-team race between Chicago and Minnesota. And if anyone's happy, I'd say it's the Twins with a hire.
Yeah, I would think so. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Daryl, I'm a little concerned. Maybe I shouldn't be, but every day it seems that Myles Garrett is on some list or not practicing. Is this becoming habitual, and is there something to be concerned about with him?
Well, I think what they're doing is they're protecting him less because right now, aside from Baker Mayfield, he is the franchise, especially when you look at the defensive side of the ball. So they're being real careful with him. Now, Kevin Stefanski's downplayed the ankle injury, which apparently he suffered against the Bengals. He's expected to practice on Friday, expected to play on Sunday. So we'll see if he can keep that consecutive games with a sack record going. He's at 6 and counting.
You know, when he had his strip sack the other day, he's now gotten to the point where he's almost laughing at the running back or the quarterback as he's performing the move to begin the swipe. You know, he's almost calling a timeout so he can enjoy the picture of it. And
Right.
that's a phenomenon. I'm surprised you don't see more of that in the league. Maybe nobody can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible how fast he gets off on the snap. And it's also impressive to see how successful he is, Les, considering he could probably draw a holding flag on every play.
Yeah.
Now, holding calls around the league are down significantly this year. That's why the pace of play, I think, has improved league-wide, as well as the time of games. You're seeing, shorter. It's taking less than 3 hours to play the vast majority of games, whereas typically, the benchmark was 3 hours.
Do
But
you
you
think
could.
it's league mandated that the holding penalties are down? Do you think mandated by the league to speed things up and make the game more exciting?
Not so much specifically to the penalty less, but it's my understanding that the officials have been told, unless it's egregious and absolutely definitive, they don't need to be throwing flags on everything. So I think there has been a conscious effort, and part of this is COVID-19 related, because the officials gathering, talking, those type of things, removing the masks so that they can talk for the television cameras and whatnot. I think that what the league wanted to see this year, Les, was fewer penalties called, obviously making sure that games don't get out of hand, that egregious penalties do not get missed. But we have seen, when you watch some of these games, not just Browns games, but just the games across the league, you are seeing calls that do get missed.
Yeah, there's a call the other day that it was a nice play and all that stuff, and I'm saying, well, it was a nice play, except that it's coming back, and it didn't come back, and I'm saying, what's the matter? They changed, are they controlling the referees more? Maybe they are, and maybe there's a good reason for it. And if it helps move the game along, and I hate these ticky-tack fouls. I know if a 40-yard pass is not a ticky-tack foul, but right. It changes the game way too much percentage-wise.
Yeah, and you're seeing less and less of those ticky-tack fouls getting called this year, and that's why I find the NFL much more watchable. Just, when I'm sitting watching the national games on the couch, whereas the Thursday night game or the Monday night game or even the Sunday night game, just it's more enjoyable to watch without the officials stopping play every other play for a penalty. And again, I think it's important that the games are officiated fairly both ways, that egregious calls, do get handled. But I do like the fact that there are fewer penalties being called in these games.
You touched on something a minute ago. I don't think you meant to, but it's certainly worth talking about. You started rattling off the Saturdays and not Saturdays, but Sunday and Monday and Thursday. And is there too much out there, or is the theory nothing's too much?
Well, I will watch any football game that's on television. However, I do think that there's a limit when you're talking about the oversaturation, Les. Me personally, I would prefer that they get rid of Thursday night football. I really have enjoyed when and I realize that the pandemic has forced the schedule changes. I've loved when they've had to go to the doubleheaders on Monday night. I like the fact that at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I've got a football game on my television, and then at 8 o'clock, I've got another game to follow. I personally enjoy that because I think that the Thursday night games, Les, the quality of play gets diminished because guys just, if you play on Sunday and then you got to play on Thursday, there's not enough recovery time. There's not enough prep time. Whereas if you play on Monday night and then you can play the following Sunday, you get that extra day to recover and prepare. So I'm of the belief that I think the league can make just as much money and keep their media partners, most notably their television media partners, happy by doing a Monday night doubleheader.
Right. I was thinking that was the case, and I know in the League of Analytics they have to have this studied. But my guess is the quality of play on Thursday is nowhere near as good as it is the rest of the week.
Yeah, I don't think so. And like I said, I don't like those short weeks. Now some teams, they appreciate the short week for the game because they get the quasi bye afterwards, right? They don't have to play on the weekend, and then obviously typically they don't have to play until the following Sunday. And some teams get real lucky and they don't have to play until that subsequent Monday. So I've never been a fan of Thursday night football, and there's not a lot that's going to change my mind in that regard.
No, I think when the NFL looks at it and says, okay, that's one more night we can have betting on the games. It's another night that we can have fantasy football. I remember when they started fantasy football, nobody in the league was in favor of it and tried to shove it to the side. And, you hear the story about how Art Modell was influential in starting Monday Night Football. Maybe he was a little bit, but I think the fact that they said, wait a minute, another night of gambling on games, bring it on.
Yeah, well, that's why we have the injury reports, right?
Sure.
And that's why coaching staffs and teams are held accountable in regards to those injury reports. Right. Now, the league isn't going to say that, but as sports betting and gambling has become more and more commonplace, it is less behind closed doors or behind the curtain, if you will. It's out in the open. Teams have partnerships with casinos and with services and whatnot. And my goodness, fantasy football 10 years ago was like a 4-letter word in the NFL.
Sure.
You did not speak of it, especially if you worked for a team. Now it's very commonplace because again, the league saw the light of day, and what I mean by the light of day, they saw dollar figures.
Yeah, and I think when you think about it, you get that extra game in there, and it used to be if you had inside information on the game, that meant you had an idea if it was going to rain or snow that day, and that's now Al Roker can tell you. Yeah,
and back to the old days, remember when Phil Dawson was here. He used to consult the groundskeepers and get the weather forecast, and he'd measure the winds. Every kick he'd write down what the weather conditions were for that particular kick. I mean, just was pretty incredible on his part. This is a kicker, right? Kickers get discounted in the NFL, but he took the job so seriously. And that's not to say that today's kickers don't take it seriously. But I used to enjoy those conversations with Phil in the locker room, and seeing the stall next to him, all the types of shoes that he'd have, and he would wear a specific pair of shoes for specific conditions and whatnot. He was just so meticulous and scientific about how he approached the game, and there are guys like that in the game, not just kickers, but receivers and quarterbacks and linemen and whatnot. But yeah, weather matters, field conditions matter, the surface matters. A lot of discussion. J.C. Treader talked about it earlier this year. He wants to get artificial turf out of the National Football League, especially if you have an open-air stadium. He wants all open-air stadiums to have grass. He feels that a lot of these dome facilities, that the technology is there, that they could still have grass, obviously referring to what the Las Vegas Raiders did with their new stadium, the Arizona Cardinals with their stadium. And the playing surface basically sits on a tray. And when they're not playing, that tray gets slid out so the grass can be tended to and grow and get that natural daylight. And then when it comes time to play football, they slide it into the building.
All right. So going back to my original question, I don't have to worry about Myles Garrett at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a little premature to throw an injury-riddled label on him, especially considering he hasn't missed a game this year. And as I said, he's basically the franchise right now with how he's playing.
All right, you can follow us on Facebook. We post the question in the morning. You answer it all day long, and then we read it at night on the show, facebook.com/More Sports and Less Levine, which is powered by cleveland.com. Back in a moment.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Maurice, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today: Bob Ross, born in this state in 1942. Stand Around was born in 1947. R.A. Dickey, Amanda Beard, Maurice Claret out of Warren, Ohio, and Andy Dalton, who may not know where he is. Hope he's doing all right. What a shot that was. Pretty terrible shot, Daryl, on Dalton.
Yeah, dirty play. Should have been a suspension that comes with that. You never want to see that. And the officials got it right by issuing the immediate ejection.
Right. 216.
By the way, Maurice Claret from my hometown, Warren, Ohio.
I didn't know that's where you're from. I knew where he was from. Didn't know you were from there.
Yeah.
Did you go to Warren Harding?
No, I went to Warren John F. Kennedy.
Ah, okay. We got the matchup with the Raiders, two old-style uniforms. If the Browns would ever wear their new old-style uniforms, but the Raiders, I don't care where they're from, whether it's Los Angeles, Oakland, whatever, those uniforms are terrific.
Yeah, they're iconic. I think that the four best uniforms in the National Football League, in no particular order, the now Los Angeles Chargers,
Really?
the now Las Vegas Raiders, the Cleveland Browns, and the Dallas Cowboys, because they're all classic. I love the new Browns uniforms. Because they're basically the old uniforms now.
Right.
They went back to that very simplistic, classic look.
Here's the problem. The people they put in charge, it's like anything in business. You put somebody in charge and they have to find something to do to justify what they're doing. So they come up with 6 different uniforms. But give them one. You want to go with the brown pants and the white shirt? Okay. But don't give me that dark shirt with the dark numbers, which colorblind people can't see anyway. The bad idea.
I liked the color rush uniforms last year. This year, they basically took the stripes off of them, which I don't like,
right?
Because they're all brown with the orange numbers. But I love the fact that they have the orange pants. And by the way, Brown's undefeated wearing orange pants this year, perfect 3-0. So I recommend that they wear orange pants the rest of the year, especially against the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens.
Right, and you should never let the Pittsburgh Steelers wear their dark uniforms in your place.
Oh.
Never, ever.
Yeah, nope, never, never, never. Well, remember the story why the Browns used to wear the all whites early in the season was because it was hot and to keep them cool. So they would make the visitors wear their dark uniforms. And then later in the season, about halfway through, then they'd switch it up and the Browns would go to the dark uniforms and then the visitors would be able to wear their road light uniforms. But again, I love what the Browns did with the uniforms this year. They're clean, they're classic, they look fantastic, even if they're still using the orangier orange.
Hey, at what point of this season can the fans just say, all right, 5-2 is 5-2, I don't care who they play, or Baker Mayfield, the question is, can he do it? Well, the answer is yes, you saw him do it. Can he do it every week? Probably not, but he showed you he can do it.
I think what was good about last week's game lesson, I know people want to discount and say, well, it was just the Bengals, and the Bengals aren't any good, so it shouldn't matter. Winning in the National Football League is difficult, and if there's ever a market where we know that it's here in Cleveland, right? So I'm not going to discount it that it was against the Bengals. It was great to see Baker succeed in a game on the line situation because that was a question people had. Hey, can Baker Mayfield? We know he can play with the lead, but can he come from behind? Can he orchestrate a game?
He's got that on his personal record right now.
And you know what? My take on the Browns this year, Les, is very simple. I think that they're a quality football team. They will make the playoffs. They probably aren't going to win a playoff game because they're not good enough just yet. But that's a gigantic step forward for a franchise that 4 years ago couldn't win a football game.
No question.
Couldn't win a single game.
So, I heard a call on your station, 92.3 The Fan, last week, and somebody complained and said, I don't want to make the playoffs because they're going to get beat first round badly. That person has never played a game in his life who thinks that way. If he doesn't understand the value of playing against better teams and improving against them and maybe pulling off the win, the fact that they don't go from 0-16 to winning the Super Bowl, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and they're not a Super Bowl contender this year. And I'm not ripping the team or being negative. That's just the reality. They're not an elite football team yet. And I think that we've seen that play out in games against the Ravens and the Steelers. I'm very curious, though, to see how the rematches against both of those teams go, especially because the games will be here in Cleveland. And there is a bit of a home field advantage because 12,000 fans are at least allowed to be in the stadium for those games. But, they've shown less that they can consistently beat the teams that they're supposed to beat.
That's the key phrase. You're supposed to beat them. And you did.
Right. They were supposed to beat the Bengals last week. I didn't think that they were going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people didn't think they were going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. They won a game that they gave up 500 yards passing to Dak Prescott. The Indianapolis Colts came in with a stout run defense, and at the time it was ranked the number one defense in a bunch of categories, and that unit has since come back to earth, but still a quality win. So they have some quality wins on this schedule as well, even though that, again, they have 2 wins against the Bengals and then, the Washington football team. And then I look at the schedule and I see that the Houston Texans, our old friend Romeo Crennel, will get to see him. They should be able to win that game. The Philadelphia Eagles, even though they're expected to get healthy, they're in the NFC least division this year. So the Browns should clean sweep that division. They still have the Giants, the Jets on the schedule. So when I look at their remaining opponents, Les, I see 10 wins. I
do too. And the fact the fans who would call in and say, well, I expect them to win 10 or 9. Well, let's say you win 9. That means there's some losses built in there. So don't get all that upset when they do use up one of them.
And here's the other thing too. Keep in mind, I'm projecting them to win 10 games. Do you realize it used to take them 3 to 4 years just to win 10 games? Oh, I just want to remind people of that.
Yeah, and remind them that they don't ask you on the Sunday morning of a playoff game who you beat to get there. You're there, beat somebody, right?
Yeah, and in any given Sunday, anything can happen. I'm not discounting their ability to win in January. Listen, if they got to play the Kansas City Chiefs on Wild Card Weekend, probably not going to go very well for the Browns.
Probably not.
It'll be invaluable experience for Baker Mayfield and Myles Garrett and that. And again, to me, it's about taking steps forward. We've talked about this in the past where, coming off that 0-16, it was just win a game. Then it was, hey, can you win a game on the road? Can you win a game on a Sunday afternoon? Can you win 2 in a row, right? And so they checked up.
Can you beat somebody in your division? That would be nice.
Right. Even though they went 6-10 last year and then another coach and GM got fired, hey, that was the first time since coming back into the league that they beat every single team within their own division at least once. And again, a step in the right direction. To me, the last thing, aside from making the playoffs and winning the division, which hasn't happened since Bud Carson's first year back in 1989, is to win at Heinz Field. To me, that's the last awful streak that this franchise desperately needs to snap.
Daryl Ruiter is with us. He's moved up on our depth chart here. You've been the next man up, and you've been ready. Thank you.
Am I the Rashard Higgins of More Sports and Less Levine?
Hollywood Ruiter.
I'm not as flashy, and I don't have a red carpet to roll out.
No, tell me who to worry about for Oakland, for Las Vegas. I'm not ready yet to call them Las Vegas, but who are we looking at?
Well, listen, if there's ever a team that should be in Las Vegas, it's the Raiders, right? Look, Vegas's defense doesn't put a lot of heat on the quarterback, but they do just enough, right? And then offensively, I think Derek Carr is having a pretty good year, and he's a lot of fun to watch. I've been a Derek Carr fan for a while, and you're talking about a guy right now. He's completing over 70% of his passes. I mean, that's somewhat unfathomable to think about, but that's the reality. They're also a team that, and this is bad news for the Browns. Derek Carr doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He's just thrown 2 interceptions, and the Raiders, they convert their third downs as well. On the flip side, the Browns defense does not get off the field on third down. Last week against the Bengals, another terrible day getting off the field on third down. 6 of 9 Cincinnati converted against the Browns. Another thing, Les, if I'm an opponent, like if I'm John Gruden coming into this game, I'm going for it on 4th down. If the ball is near midfield, or if I'm in Browns territory but just outside of field goal range and it's 4th down and less than 5, I'm going for it.
Well, one of these days, the analytics people are going to come up with the idea that that's the way to do it anyway.
Well, they already have. The formulas are there. I think that a lot of coaches, because they're the ones that get fired, not the analytics people.
They're afraid of it.
Right. They are really afraid of it. But, Derek Carr's top target, you were asking about some guys to watch, is Josh Jacobs. He's real good. Just under, 400 yards rushing for them. He's their leading rusher. Devontae Booker, though, he's an explosive back. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry. Doesn't obviously get nearly as many carries, but he's someone that when they give him the ball, he's able to, pop a decent-sized run. So you got to watch out for that. But I think this is an eminently winnable game for the Browns. In fact, I'm going to pick them to win. Exclusive on More Sports and Less Levine. I am picking the Browns to beat the Raiders before I pick the Browns to beat the Raiders on my own station.
Wow. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. What's the point spread? Any idea?
I have not looked at the point spread, and I have not looked at what the Browns' record against the spread is either. Sorry.
Well, the answer is 2.5. I've been told by the gods above us.
Okay, 2.5. Well, I'll take the Browns and the 2.5.
You got it. 216-575-0403. Daryl Ruiter is here. He is Warren's own Daryl Ruiter. Is there signs as home of Daryl Ruiter when you get into Warren?
No, I am not nearly in the same paragraph or, because I am nowhere near Paul Warfield or Maurice Claret or no. I do not belong in the same ilk.
Paul Warfield, Maurice Claret, and Daryl Ruiter. Got it all.
Yeah,
fabulous threesome. Northeast Factory Direct with 3 great locations. You got them right there, West 140th Street near the airport, Lakeland Boulevard and the Euclid and Freeway Drive, that is in Macedonia, or northeastfactory.com. More Sports and Less Levine continues in a moment. Daryl Ruiter with us, and we are powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone!
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Welcome back. More sports and less Levine. Daryl Ruiter with us tonight. And Monday we'll have Bud Shaw back with Mary Kay Cabot on Tuesday. And a special show Wednesday. We'll tell you a little bit more about it on Monday with that one. If you're a baseball fan, you're not going to want to miss that. 216-575-0403. Let's check out a quickie for today, see what our writers are coming up with. Apparently nothing. Yeah, nothing. All right. We'll get it later, maybe. Well, you don't have a quickie. It was so quick it got up and ran away. Daryl Ruiter is here. He'll fill it for us. Daryl, we had the trading deadline, which nobody with the Browns was involved. Is anybody they can still get in any way? I don't know how you do that after the deadline.
Well, the deadline is next Tuesday at 4 p.m. And the talk around the league was that there was going to be a little more sense of urgency this year because of the COVID-19 protocols and whatnot, that teams might be motivated to make trades a little earlier instead of waiting until Tuesday and that 4 o'clock Eastern deadline to arrive.
To sell or to buy?
Well, I think the Browns will be buyers. They're not selling. First of all, it would not be wise for them to sell. But I think that if Andrew Berry does do something, it will be to buy. I would not be surprised if they traded for a receiver. I would not be surprised if they tried to trade for some front seven help, because they need some front seven help. Again, this defense right now, Les, is basically Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. And that's about it.
Where's the other 9? Well, that's interesting. I mean, the obvious, when your wide receiver Beckham gets injured, your obvious first thought is, well, let's find a wide receiver to replace him. Well, first of all, you're not going to find that guy at this point and this year with a contract that's doable. But you can maybe improve yourself in other ways. Maybe get a linebacker or two, and hope that some of your defensive backs come back. You don't have to go position by position. So is there anybody else out there that might be interested, a team that might be interested in acquiring a draft choice or something of that sort to give the Browns something they need? I mean, everybody knows where they stand right now. Right. You have a good idea if you're going to be a playoff team, or maybe not a total idea, but you're going to know if you're going to be in the hunt in the last week or two.
Oh, this is the ultimate, pick meat off the dead carcass situation, and the Browns are the ones doing the picking for a change. But the reason they would go after a wide receiver, Les, is because you want to add a little extra oomph offensively. Because let's be honest about it, the offense is what's going to get you to the playoffs, right? If the game is on the line, the offense can win it for you. I shudder to think about the defense being on the field. In fact, last week against the Bengals, I think tweeted around the 2-minute warning, let Cincinnati score here so that
Give you
right,
time.
so Baker Mayfield can get on the field, because this defense was not going to stop the Bengals.
No.
And so why allow them to chew off all the clock?
And then I thought Stefanski made a strange call, the way he set up for the Hail Mary pass. And then what he said was he didn't think Burrow could throw that far. Everybody knows Burrow can throw that far.
Yeah, and he took ownership of that. That's, it's refreshing to hear that, from the coach when he's asked.
Well, it is, but it's more refreshing to know that he know. Who doesn't know that Burrow can throw like that? Yeah,
and also part of that would be, it could be him doing a little coach speak there as well. Maybe not, taking ownership. He's taken ownership of being the one that made the wrong call in that situation, while trying to come up with something plausible to explain why he made the decision that he did. At least it would be believable in the media. Myles Garrett was kind of beside himself as well. I think everyone was holding their collective breaths. And listen, the reason I feel like this isn't the same old Browns, because if it was the same old Browns, darn well that pass gets caught in the end zone.
The week before, the ball doesn't hit the upright and go in. I'm just wondering, though, in the Browns situation, if they were so shocked by their extra point being missed, I wonder if somebody had to know the point differential at that time, that they could tie it with it going for two. Somebody had to be whispering in Stefanski's ear, I would think.
Yeah, they have someone upstairs whose job is to help out with those type of things. We don't know who that is. We can assume it's Alex Van Pelt, because he's, the offensive coordinator or whatever. But yeah, there's someone in the booth that advises Stefanski on replays and certain situations and tendencies, both their own tendencies as well as the opponents.
Well, let me tell you something. This is the 14th year in a row that I've applied for that job, and I have not had a sniff yet.
That's somewhat surprising.
With the Cleveland Browns, it's always going to be open, that job.
You know what, though? They're doing so well now, it might be tougher for you to get in the door.
I was going to say, I was going to go out there last week and say, look, I've been hired as your guy with the clock management. How about giving me something to do?
Yeah, there's nothing for you to do this year, because I think Kevin Stefanski, for the most part, I think he's done an outstanding job.
Yeah, my concern would be that they'd hire me to do that, and then if there's nothing to do, then they say, okay, you be a linebacker. That one I'm not applying for.
Well, this is the wrong year for extra personnel on the sideline anyway, Les.
We haven't mentioned this, Daryl, but fans have told me how much fun it is. I get up on Sunday morning, you got a game to watch, not just a game because they're going to watch the Browns no matter what, but a game that means something, that you have a chance to win for the most part in every game, and they're fun to watch. And I think they're right in all of those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an enjoyable team. They're entertaining. The offense looks modern. It doesn't look like they're setting the sport of football back decades like we suffered through for so many years here. They're on pace to score record points. Unfortunately, they're also on pace to give up record points.
Right.
But we're trying to keep the conversation positive. So yeah, I mean, they're a lot of fun. And also it's a likable team too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got a lot of likable players. And I think that the reason that they're so likable is, a lot of the guys like Rashard Higgins and Myles Garrett, players that are making an impact. They were here and suffered through that 0-16 and 1-15 nonsense.
Absolutely. Right now at Smiley One, they're making it very easy to invest in a new heating or cooling comfort system without breaking the budget. For a limited time, take advantage of their special financing, 36 months on select Bryant high-efficiency equipment. They make it easy for your family to stay comfortable all year long. Call Smiley One for more information and details. And we'll come back in a moment with Daryl Ruiter, the dangerous Daryl Ruiter from 92.3 The Fan. Back in a moment, more sports and Les Levine continues. Powered by cleveland.com.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources. because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. The 29th of October, 1989, Ozzie Newsome's streak comes to an end. 150 consecutive games of having a reception. Daryl, Bernie Kosar helped him out a little bit, didn't he? Feeding him the ball?
Yeah, just a little.
But it was still a great streak.
It really was. And what's so phenomenal about Ozzie Newsome is not only just him as a player, Les, as a Hall of Famer, but he could go into the Hall of Fame a second time as an executive. He has done, unfortunately for us in Cleveland, he did a spectacular job.
It's the ultimate. It's the ultimate Cleveland sports question, and that is: would the Browns have done the same thing had they stayed here instead of moving after the '95 season? And also, would Art Modell have changed the view on him that he was in fact a good owner? I doubt that he would have in Cleveland, but he still found a way to lose money in two different markets, which is very hard to do in the NFL.
And that's one of the main reasons or arguments, I should say, that I've had against Art Modell even getting into the Hall of Fame. Okay, fine, he influenced the revenue in the league and how they generate it today. That's all well and good, but the bottom line, he was a terrible businessman, moved the franchise, and still, despite getting his new stadium and all the financial accommodations that he got from the state of Maryland and city of Baltimore, still had to sell the team. Yeah. It still didn't go to David Modell. So it's unfortunate that he did not take advantage of the Lerner family offer back in the 90s to sell the team to them, become a minority owner, keep the franchise in Cleveland, because unfortunately, Browns fans certainly don't want to be reminded of this. And, the Baltimore Ravens have as many Super Bowl trophies as the Cleveland Browns have winning seasons since coming back into the league. 2.
Ouch. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. 2.
These are the facts.
These are the facts, ma'am. No question about it. 216-575-0403 is the number. Let's put our baseball caps on here and talk for a minute. Brad Hand, the Indians setting him up to go on waivers. $10 million a year is what they will save, and they'll hope somebody will take him off waivers, and then they don't have to buy him off. Any reason that they should have kept him?
Yeah, I mean, he performed well in the regular season. The problem is, what have you done for me lately, Les? And with the season on the line, he didn't perform. And, the Indians, because of their financial situation, I just quite frankly don't think they can afford to pay him $10 million. And part of the reason I think that they put him on waivers today is because they don't want to have to pay that $1 million buyout to him either. And, it's going to be a tough offseason for the front office, because I really think that this payroll is going to have to be slashed significantly to make up for a lot of the losses, because Chris Antonetti mentioned it multiple times, both in the summer, throughout the season, and then when the season ended, about the reality of the financial ramifications of the pandemic and the tens of millions of dollars that the Indians lost. And unfortunately, the Indians are not owned by people that have tremendous wealth.
Even some of the big boys are coming to see the way to do it too.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, and you know what? We get caught up in both in the media as well as fans less in payroll numbers. Fact of the matter is, Tampa Bay Rays, if I remember correct, I think they spent they had one of the lowest payrolls in baseball this year. I forget the number. Maybe it was in the 40s. 40 million range or whatever. You can win with a small payroll. It's not how much you spend, it's how you spend it and the quality of players you have. And I think that one of the things the Indians will end up doing this offseason is probably trading Francisco Lindor, as painful as it's going to be. And they're going to try and get a package that brings them 3 core pieces that can be part of the next round of stable winning, because I think they're on the back end of it now.
You look at Tampa Bay in the last, the Indians didn't play them, so we didn't, as fans, we didn't see them, Tampa Bay. Right. They have people that are unrecognizable, although a couple of them played for the Indians. But what they did is they got down to Game 6, and they did it against the mighty Dodgers. And yet they had no money to compete. But baseball, you can do that. Baseball, you can get hot. Now, I don't know if that would have changed. Probably would have changed based on a 60-game schedule as opposed to 162. But they played within the guidelines of what the rules were, and the Indians didn't.
And you look at how, especially from a pitching standpoint, right? You look at some of those contracts the Indians have on the books for their pitchers, and they're paying pennies on the dollar for Cy Young caliber pitching right now. Okay.
Oh, good for them though.
Right. But that's the unfortunate reality that the Indians have to deal with. They have to be economical with how they spend their money. And once players reach a certain level where they need to be paid, and rightfully so, because those players have earned those salaries, the Indians move on. And you've heard, whether it's Francisco Lindor or other players within the clubhouse, when they field questions about that, they're like, hey, that's how this organization does business. We as players know it. We try and take advantage of our opportunities here when we get them. It just, for me, the most unfortunate thing for the Indians right now, Les, is that they had 2 eras, going back to the 90s and then going back to the last 7-8 years under Terry Francona as manager. They've had 2 eras of consistent winning, and they did not win the World Series. They missed the opportunities both times to do it. And that's a little disappointing, because they were right there.
They were right there, and they were right there with Cy Young Award pitchers.
Absolutely.
It also makes you wonder, had they been able to pull something off in the 60s, in the 90s, the Albert Bell teams and all, or if they did it in somewhere along the line leading up to the Cubs loss, it would have brought a lot of cachet to this team, and they could have gotten away with some of the things they're trying to do a little bit easier than it's going to be. Do you have any idea in your own mind, and you'd be making it up, but do you have an idea where you think that they're aiming at in dealing off on Francisco Lindor?
I don't. My gut tells me that they're probably going to try and pull a trigger on that this offseason, because you can't let them just walk away for nothing. And that's just the reality. So what you try and do is you try and get, as I mentioned, at least 3 core pieces in return that you can rebuild your ball club around. They've got to decide on options for Carlos Santana. Let's not forget about him. You could argue that he's like Lindor, though, among the heart and soul of that organization.
Yeah, but
I think
he's clearly overpaid.
Right. Roberto Perez, and I think Hernandez, Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman. I think they got a decision there that they have to make, or they want to bring him back or whatever. But they're going to have some difficult decisions to make this offseason. Fans are not going to be happy. But the Indians have proven that they have a very intelligent front office led by Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff. Terry Francona can manage this team as long as, God willing, his health is able to hold out and he's able to do it. So I honestly have faith and give them the benefit of the doubt as they make some of these moves. Whereas 5 to 6 years ago, I was a lot more critical of the front office and the organization because I didn't know and I didn't trust. But now,
they've proven it. They've proven
right.
it.
They've proven themselves.
All right, Francona now the second oldest manager in the American League Central.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. I cannot get over.
I can't either. I got to read more stuff on Tony La Russa, how that happened.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Let's take a break.
So will the White Sox be shooting up before games? Will they have pill parties before games and see who can bulk up the fastest? And oh man,
maybe they'll bring McGuire back. Maybe.
Yeah, and maybe hire Barry Bonds to be. Yeah, Sammy Sosa will be the strength and conditioning coach. Right. Barry Bonds will be the nutritionist, and Mark McGuire will be the hitting coach.
Back in a moment. Well, maybe he'll make the Hall of Fame 2 different times, if that's possible to do. Let's take a break. Daryl Ruiter with us, 92.3 The Fan. We're coming back one more time. More sports unless Levine continues to sponsor. And, of course, we are powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. Add more livable space, inhibit the growth of mold and mildew, and improve air quality for your family. It's the healthier, more beautiful basement floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your basement floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Weekend winners, that'll be tomorrow with, of course, Dave Bacon. He'll have that with Ellis Williams of cleveland.com. Hopefully he'll join them from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as then we'll be back on Monday to do the same. And it'll be Bud Shaw, then Mary Kay Cabot as we get on through the week. I'll tell you more Monday about the show that we're going to have on Wednesday. I think you're going to like it. Daryl Ruiter is with us, 92.3 The Fan. Do you ever sleep?
I do. Believe it or not. Yes, I do. Not much, but I do.
Gotta keep you healthy here. You got the long seasons going. Although it's a little more fun to cover winning teams than it is losing teams. I found that to be quite true.
I am looking forward to covering a football game in January as opposed to a coaching and GM search. That will be a novel thing for me, and I can't wait.
We have a Facebook question that we put up on the board earlier today, and we got a response. The question was, who's going to be the star for Cleveland on Sunday. I assume he's talking about the Browns. And Mr. Berger, Glenn Berger, says Myles Garrett. Daryl, you can never go wrong with that choice.
No, that's pretty good pick. Pretty solid option there.
Are you surprised how solid option? Are you surprised how good he's been this year?
No, I'm not, because the talent is there. I don't want to use the word surprise, Les. I like the fact that he's doing it consistently now, right? It's not a situation where he's getting 2 or 3 sacks in one game and then he goes 2 and 3 games after without a sack. I mean, he's got 6 straight games with a sack. He's got 4 strip sacks this year, which is incredible. 9 sacks in total. And he's making plays that change the game. You know, you go back to that first Bengals game, that strip sack. Dallas game early on, made a couple of big plays early. So he's making impactful plays too. It's not just he's piling up numbers. The plays that he is making are coming at critical times for the Browns.
They're backbreakers to the offense.
Yeah, they really are.
Even if you don't come up with the strip sack, if you just knock it out of his hands and lose 8 yards, 12 yards, or whatever it is, you don't have to come up with the turnover to make it a heartbreaker, but it is. By the way, if you want to call us and leave us a message when we're not here during the show, you can use the voicemail of Truth and Reason, and that is 216-200-6650. 216-200-6650, the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Daryl Ruiter with us. You said earlier you sort of made your pick for the game, but if people weren't viewing, they have a chance to hear what you have to say right now.
I am going with the Browns in this one over the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Browns go into the bye, riding a high, back-to-back wins, and 6-2. It's been since 1994 that this team.
Yeah, but it's only the Bengals and it's only the Cowboys. Come on.
I know. Yeah. What would people say if the Browns were going into the bye at 2-6?
Well, yeah, and not only that, they're
mean?
beating the teams they're supposed to beat. If you don't beat them, then you got a problem.
Exactly. So, you got the Texans. Let's see here. You got the Texans. I'm going to cheat. Look at my schedule. They got the Texans, the Eagles, the Jaguars out of the bye. That should be 3 straight wins there. I'll take 2 of 3. Back-to-back against the Titans and Ravens. That's not going to be an easy stretch. And then you got the gift that keeps on giving, the New York pretending to play football Giants, followed by the Jets, who have crashed and burned in spectacular fashion.
The Jets, Jets?
No. They are not good. They are not deserving of the Jets chant this year. I think Fireman Fred, not pandemic related, taking the year off, and then of course you end up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I really think 10 wins. 10-6, they're going to go to the playoffs, but I do think that they beat the Las Vegas Raiders, or the franchise formerly known as the Oakland or Los Angeles Raiders.
Stick around; they may be called something else real soon at a theater near you.
I think that they're stuck there for a few years with that $1 billion stadium that they were able to build from the Las Vegas and Nevada taxpayers.
Right. All right, great job.
Death Star is what they call it.
Great job by Daryl Ruiter. He comes through every time. I'll tell you what, he's a next man up guy. We appreciate his efforts in that department. Daryl, enjoy the game on Sunday, and you'll have an off week, but something always happens, so don't go on a vacation. No vacation this year anyway. No one's allowed, right? We have to stay home. You got it. All right, Daryl, we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. That'll do it for us. Weekend winners on tomorrow night with Dave Bacon, and I'll be back on Monday with Bud Shaw. That'll do it for us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.